Okay, let's unpack this. We are jumping into a deep dive today, focusing on the information you've shared from Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica,
Right.
specifically about alumen, or common potash alum.
That's the one. And our mission really is to explore this source material to just pull out the key insights, you know?
Yeah, understand the characteristics and symptoms Boericke connects with it based only on the text you gave us.
Exactly. And what's interesting right off the bat is how broad it is.
It really is. This text covers, well, everything from very specific feelings to these bigger body wide tendencies.
Absolutely. Boericke seems to zero in on certain core patterns. One that gets highlighted early, and it sounds pretty dramatic, is the state of the bowels.
Oh, yeah. And the description of constipation here is, wow, intense. What does the text actually say about this most aggravated kind?
Well, it talks about having no desire to go for days. Then, when the urge finally hits, it's violent straining, but completely useless.
So nothing happens.
Pretty much.
Mm.
An inability to expel anything. And even if small hard bits do pass the text, calls them marble-like masses, that feeling of fullness, it just stays.
Gosh.
And it comes with itching, pain, smarting, hemorrhoids, even bleeding sometimes. It sounds quite severe.
That really paints a vivid picture, doesn't it, of
Like
just
it is.
blockage and real discomfort. Now, beyond the gut, the text also mentions some general things affecting the whole system.
It does. And this is where we see these wider themes emerge.
Mm-hmm.
One is this sense of paralytic weakness. Boericke says it can affect all parts of the body.
So not just tired, but actual weakness.
Yeah, like a general muscle weakness. It mentions it being noticeable in the arms and legs.
Yeah.
Sometimes even a constricted feeling around the limbs.
A profound lack of physical power, sort of. And then there's that other big characteristic that keeps popping up, induration.
That's a really striking theme here. Induration just means hardening, tissues getting hard.
Right.
And Boericke points this out in lots of different places you wouldn't necessarily connect.
Like where?
The tongue getting hard, the rectum, the cervix, the tonsils, glands, even the base of skin ulcers. This hardening seems key in this source's description.
Huh. And there was one more general point, I think. Something about dryness.
Yes, a general sensation of dryness and constriction.
Yeah.
If you tie that back to specific symptoms listed, you can kind of see how these themes play out.
In different body parts, right? Like the throat, for instance.
Exactly. The text describes the throat that feels, well, relaxed, but looks red and swollen. Sometimes those indurated, hardened tonsils again.
Okay.
A tickling cough, a burning feeling going down the esophagus, even complete voice loss aphonia, and difficulty swallowing, especially liquids, plus that constricted feeling.
Makes sense. What about the head? Any symptoms there?
Boericke notes a burning pain on top of the head, like a heavyweight. The odd thing is, this headache is supposedly better from pressure and from cold.
Interesting combination.
Yeah. Vertigo, dizziness is also mentioned, connected to weakness in the stomach pit, and alopecia hair loss that's listed too.
Got it. And there was a very specific note about the heart, wasn't there?
Just one thing, palpitations, that fluttering or pounding. But specifically when lying down on the right side.
Very specific. Okay, turning to the female system.
Right, and here's where that induration theme comes back strongly. It's noted in the neck of the uterus and the mammary glands.
Oh, okay.
The text also mentions chronic yellow vaginal discharge, a similar discharge from the urethra, these painful little sores called aphthous patches in the vagina, and watery periods.
And respiratory stuff, also covered.
Yes, including hemoptysis coughing up blood. Also a feeling of great weakness in the chest, finding it hard to cough up mucus. And then this characteristic copious, ropey mucus in the morning, especially it says in older people. Asthma is listed too.
And the skin ties back in as well.
Yeah, we see ulcers mentioned again with those hard, indurated bases, hardened glands too, varicose veins that might bleed easily, and eczema.
So what about things that make symptoms better or worse? The modalities.
Generally, the text states symptoms are worse, cold. But that big exception is the headache we talked about better by pressure and by cold applications.
Right, right. And finally, dosage gets a brief mention.
Just notes a range from 1st to 30th potency and adds that very highest potencies have proved efficacious. There's also a traditional note about using powdered alum on the tongue for asthma attacks.
Okay, so let's try and sum this up. Based purely on this Boericke text you shared, Alumen comes across as strongly linked to, well, severe constipation that doesn't respond to straining.
Right, that paralytic weakness feeling all over.
This really prominent tendency for tissues to harden in various places.
Induration, yeah. and those feelings of dryness and constriction.
So, understanding this profile gives you, the listener, a clear window into how this one substance is described in this particular materia medica.
Precisely. It's a specific snapshot from this source.
And just as a final thought, thinking about that hardening, that induration showing up in so many different spots, tongue, uterus, glands, skin ulcers, what might Mark be suggesting about an underlying connection or pattern across the body system? Something for you to mull over.